In ancient India during the Buddha's time, there was a renowned elder in the kingdom of Kapilavastu named Siddhartha. People affectionately referred to him as the Upagupta elder, a benefactor of the solitary and destitute. However, little known is the fact that this wealthy merchant was once impoverished in his youth, even reduced to begging on the streets. Why did his destiny undergo such a dramatic transformation? What power enabled him not only to amass vast wealth, but also to construct the renowned Jetavana monastery, providing support for the Buddha and the Sangha? The Buddhist scriptures record a little-known story. When Elder Master Shiyun was young, he once encountered a mysterious old monk. This venerable monk imparted to him the 5 great wealth practices of Akashagarbha Bodhisattva. Among these Dharma gates, especially the 4th one, became the key for Siddhartha to completely change the trajectory of his life. This story is recorded in ancient scriptures and is now seldom known. Today, let us together delve into this long-sealed legend, exploring the astonishing transformation from a beggar to a wealthy merchant, and unveil the mysterious veil of the 5 great wealth Dharma gates of Akasagarbha Bodhisattva. During the era when the Buddha was spreading his teachings, there was a young man named Shanshur. On an auspicious day, Shanshur happened to witness a touching scene. A wealthy merchant named Siddhartha was giving food and clothing to the poor, and the recipients wore expressions of grateful smiles. This scene deeply moved the virtuous envoy. He mustered courage, made his way through the crowd, and approached Siddhartha. After respectfully bowing, he said, "Venerable sir, I have often heard of your generous and virtuous deeds. You possess abundant wealth, but are willing to share it with those in need. I have always been curious. Where does your wealth come from? Why are you so generous?" Siddhartha gazed at the sincere young man with a gentle and profound look. He smiled and replied, "Young man, you may find it hard to believe, but my circumstances when I was young were even more difficult than yours. I was once a homeless beggar, unable to secure even 3 meals a day." Seeing the look of surprise at the good deed, Siddhartha continued, "The turning point of my destiny originated from a miraculous encounter with the Bodhisattva Akasagarbha. If you're interested, I can share with you the story that changed my life." The virtuous teacher nodded eagerly, eyes gleaming with the light of seeking knowledge. Siddhartha invited the virtuous teacher to his home, and in the spacious courtyard, he began to recount his story. 20 years ago, I was not called Siddhartha. My name was Garya. At that time, I was just a poor boy struggling to survive in the slums, living each day by relying on the discarded food of others. One day, after not eating for 3 days, hunger and weakness caused me to faint by the roadside. At that moment, an elderly monk with white hair passed by, helped me to my feet, and gave me food and water. After I regained some strength, he took me to his humble abode. Siddhartha's gaze grew profound, as if he had returned to that moment which changed his destiny. The old monk told me, "Young man, your current situation is not accidental, but the result of karmic conditions from past lives. If one wishes to change their current situation, it is necessary to understand the true path of wealth and honor." He told me that the Bodhisattva Akashagarbha once imparted 5 great secrets of wealth and prosperity, which can help sentient beings transform poverty into abundance and achieve true fulfillment. The old monk explained that Akasagarbha Bodhisattva, in Sanskrit, possesses a boundless and vast treasury of wisdom like the sky. He not only governs the worldly treasures, but also presides over the transcendent treasury of merit. His teachings guide sentient beings to attain both material and spiritual abundance. As the sun sets in the west, the old monk's voice becomes solemn and mysterious. The first secret to wealth is not losing one's wealth. Many think that not losing means letting oneself lose possessions, but in truth, it is not so. True generosity is like sowing seeds. Every contribution made will bear abundant fruit in the future. When you give alms, it is not only an act of generosity towards others, but also a way to plant the seeds of merit for yourself. Generosity is not limited to material offerings. It also includes the gift of fearlessness and the gift of Dharma. Even if you're destitute now, you can still offer your time, effort, knowledge, or a sincere smile as a form of dana. These seemingly insignificant acts of kindness, when accumulated over time, can alter the trajectory of your destiny. The venerable monk recounted an ancient story. Once upon a time, there was a poor woman named Lotus, and the only thing she possessed was an oil lamp. One day, the Buddha was preaching in the city, and the people offered lamps to the Buddha to show their respect. Although the lotus was poor, it was sincere in heart and decided to offer its only oil lamp. He converted all his savings into oil, lit the lamp, and devoutly offered it before the Buddha. The wondrous thing was that when the night breeze blew, all the precious lamps in the affluent counties were extinguished, yet only the oil lamp of Lianhua burned throughout the night, its light shining brightly. Later, due to the merit and virtue of the Singh, the lotus flower was reborn as a wealthy elder. The elderly monk looked at the family's offerings with kindness. This story teaches us that the value of giving lies not in the amount, but in the sincerity and purity of the heart. Even the smallest act of giving, when done sincerely, can bring boundless merit. Jalyo nodded thoughtfully, while the old monk continued to explain the second secret. The second secret to wealth is accumulating wealth through precepts. Observing precepts is like building a strong protective wall around one's wealth. Honesty and trustworthiness, refraining from stealing, false speech, and greed. These fundamental moral principles can help you accumulate intangible credibility and social connections. In the world of commerce, integrity is the greatest capital. Wealth obtained through deceit is like a castle in the air that will eventually collapse, whereas enterprises built on integrity are like great trees whose roots grow deeper and become ever more robust. The venerable monk spoke earnestly, saying that upholding the precepts not only safeguards the wealth you possess, but also brings new opportunities to you. When people know that you're trustworthy, they naturally become willing to collaborate with you. This reputation is more valuable than any gold. The old monk continued, "The third secret to wealth is to endure insults and thereby attract fortune. In the process of accumulating wealth, you will inevitably encounter various setbacks and challenges. Only by possessing the quality of forbearance can one persist in adversity and ultimately achieve success. Patience is not a sign of weakness or submissive endurance, but the maintenance of inner calmness and wisdom when facing difficulties. When others are crushed by setbacks, you can hold firm to your original aspiration. When others are blinded by greed, you can remain clear and lucid. This ability is especially valuable in the commercial world." Jalu recalled the many times he had given up work due to being insulted and could not help but lower his head. At this moment, the old monk's voice grew even stronger. The fourth key to returning is diligent concentration and gathering. This is the most crucial Dharma gate for transforming your destiny. Diligence is not merely about working hard. It is about exerting oneself fully in the right direction. True diligence encompasses 4 aspects. Set clear goals, devote yourself fully, persevere consistently, and remain unperturbed by changing circumstances. The elderly monk recounted the story of the merchant Miaoji. Miaoji was born into poverty, but he was skilled in the craft of weaving cloth. He did not try various industries indiscriminately, but focused on the cloth trade, continuously refining his skills and knowledge. He conducts his business with integrity and strives for excellence, remaining consistent for 20 years. Even when faced with provocations from competitors, he never wavers and steadfastly adheres to his own business principles. It was precisely this relentless diligence that transformed him from a poor youth into a renowned Buddhist entrepreneur known far and wide. He is not only wealthy, but also widely respected, for people know that every bit of his wealth comes from sincere labor and wisdom. After listening to the old monk explain the first 4 secrets of wealth, Jia Lu's heart was filled with both doubt and anticipation. He couldn't help but ask, "Master, is the method of wealth and honor taught by Bodhisattva Akasagarbha truly so miraculous? Especially the fourth principle you mentioned, diligent accumulation of wealth. Can it truly change a person's life trajectory? I have been striving for so many years, yet I remain impoverished. Could it be that there is something wrong with the way I practice diligence?" The old monk's gaze was as piercing as a torch, directly meeting Jalyo's eyes. "Young people, the wealth dharma of Akasagarbha Bodhisattva is not an ordinary worldly method. The fourth principle of diligent accumulation of wealth can change the trajectory of one's destiny because it teaches us not to work blindly, but to devote ourselves fully in the right direction. Many people wander aimlessly like headless flies, encountering obstacles everywhere. They want to do this today and that tomorrow, yet they do not truly know what they truly desire. Miaoji's success lies not only in his business acumen, but also in his integration of the teachings of Akasagarbha Bodhisattva into his enterprise. Every morning, he recites the Sutra of Akasagarbha Bodhisattva to purify his mind and pray for wisdom. The wealth he acquired was not only used for his own enjoyment, but mostly for acts of generosity and the construction of facilities that benefit the public. It is precisely this consistent diligence, both inwardly and outwardly, that enabled him to attain true wealth and honor. The old monk's tone grew even deeper. True wealth is not merely the money in one's pocket, but the abundance of the heart and the richness of wisdom. A person is truly wealthy only when he possesses both types of wealth simultaneously. Otherwise, even if one possesses immense wealth, if the heart remains barren like a desert, one is merely a beggar dressed in fine clothes. Night had fallen, and the old monk lit an oil lamp, the warm glow illuminating the humble room. He paused for a moment, took a deep breath, and said, "Young man, now is the time to reveal to you the fifth most profound secret to wealth and honor. This is also the most precious wisdom of Bodhisattva Akasagarbha." In the dim light, the old monk's face appeared exceptionally solemn. The fifth secret to wealth is accumulating wealth through prajna, wisdom. This is the most profound, yet also the most fundamental dharma gate. Prajna is the highest wisdom, the ability to see through the essence of things. In the pursuit of wealth, without the guidance of prajna wisdom, it is easy to become lost in the chase for material possessions, ultimately becoming a slave to wealth rather than its master. Prajna wisdom enables us to realize that wealth in itself is neither good nor evil. The crucial aspect lies in how we acquire and utilize it. The true path to wealth and honor lies in acquiring wealth without harming others and using it to benefit society. A person endowed with prajna wisdom is neither troubled by poverty nor disturbed by wealth and honor. The old monk gazed into Jalyo's eyes. Bodhisattva Akasagarbha teaches us that true wealth arises from inner awakening and outward virtuous actions. Inner awakening enables us to understand the true nature of wealth, while external virtuous actions guide us to properly utilize the power of wealth. Both are indispensable. The venerable monk solemnly said, "Young man, the 5 great methods of wealth I impart to you have already helped many transform from poverty to prosperity. I have seen a street beggar who, after practicing these dharma methods, not only accumulated great wealth, but also established a society dedicated to supporting the Sangha through the offering of scriptures." Jalu listened intently and asked curiously, "Master, who did the practitioner of this dharma gate become later? Where is he now?" The old monk smiled kindly and said, "Young one, the power of these dharma practices you will come to understand in time. What is important is whether you are willing to sincerely put them into practice." Jaru exclaimed excitedly, "Master, I am determined to learn these dharma methods, but where should I begin? I am currently impoverished. How can I put these teachings into practice?" The elderly monk looked kindly at Jalyo and said, "Let's begin without delay. Even if you are poor now, you can still preserve your time, effort, and good intentions. Spend a little time each day helping others, even if it is just assisting an elderly person across the street or giving a piece of bread to someone who is hungry. These seemingly small actions will plant the seeds of prosperity in your life. If you sincerely practice these Dharma methods, your life will undergo significant transformation within 3 years. After finishing the story, Vedatha looked at the virtuous young man before him and asked, "Young man, can you guess what happened to that impoverished heir?" The young man's eyes lit up, and he exclaimed, "Could it be that you are that very person?" Vedatha smiled and nodded. "Exactly. That poor heir is none other than Vedatha, standing before you now. I follow the teachings of the venerable monks, beginning with the smallest acts of dana, generosity. In the beginning, I could only offer my physical labor, helping the elderly carry water and gathering herbs for the sick. As virtuous deeds accumulate, my destiny begins to change. 3 years later, I had my own small shop and began dealing in incense. 7 years later, my caravan had traveled throughout central India. 15 years later, I became a wealthy merchant in the kingdom of Kapilavastu and was fortunate to encounter the Buddha. I was deeply struck by his wisdom and generously donated vast wealth to the Chiyuan Sutra Society in support of the Buddha and the Sangha. Su Dadwa continued, "Throughout this journey, I have never forgotten those 5 great noble practices. I practice dana daily, strictly observe the precepts, maintain patience in the face of setbacks, diligently strive in my career, and guide my business decisions with prajna wisdom. These Dharma practices have not only brought me material wealth, but also granted me inner abundance and tranquility. I am constantly amazed and astonished. Truly an incredible transformation. Your story has given me great encouragement." Vasudetta said to the assembly, "Young man, now I will impart to you these 5 major paths to prosperity, hoping that you too may benefit from them. However, remember one point. These Dharma gates are not shortcuts to acquiring wealth, but wisdom that requires long-term perseverance and practice. Wealth will naturally come with your practice, but the most important thing is the growth and awakening of the mind." The virtuous teacher respectfully accepted Siddhartha's instruction, and from that day onward, he earnestly began to practice the 5 great methods of wealth. Every morning at dawn, he recites the name of Akasagarbha Bodhisattva to purify his mind. During the day, while diligently working, he does not forget to help those in need. In the evening, he studies business knowledge and enhances his skills. He dedicates 1/10 of his modest income to charity, never ceasing regardless of hardship. In the practice of precepts, the virtuous teacher strictly demands honesty and trustworthiness of oneself, never deceiving sentient beings. Whenever encountering misunderstandings or ridicule from others, the Dharma is boundless. The Dharma is boundless. He also established a scripture society in his hometown to support monks and assist the impoverished. When people ask him about the secret to his success, the virtuous teacher always humbly says that his wealth comes from the 5 great wealth methods of Akasagarbha Bodhisattva, and the core of these methods is combining the acquisition of wealth with benefiting sentient beings. True wealth is not measured by the abundance of possessions, but by how one uses these possessions to benefit oneself and others. In one of the Buddha's teachings, Venerable Ananda asked, "World-honored one, how should we regard wealth and poverty in the world? Why are some people wealthy while others are poor?" The Buddha calmly replied, "Wealth is like flowing water. It should be granted righteously and used beneficially. The causes created in past lives bring about the effects in this present life, and the practice undertaken in this life will determine the conditions of the future. The 5 great wealth gateways of Akasagarbha Bodhisattva serve as the illuminating wisdom guiding sentient beings toward the righteous path within the cycle of cause and effect." Ananda further inquired, "Then, blessed one, why does the elder Suddha emphasize the significance of diligent effort in the 4th Dharma gate, accumulating wealth, so particularly?" The Buddha's gaze is profound, his voice gentle yet powerful. Diligence is the key to transforming one's destiny. Many people understand the importance of patience and recognize the necessity of maintaining precepts. Some can even practice patience amid adversity. However, without diligent effort, all of these remain mere theoretical discussions. Diligence is like a flame, capable of burning away past karmic obstacles and illuminating the path ahead. It is the bridge that transforms ideals into reality and a refining process that turns knowledge into wisdom. Without diligence, the other four practices are difficult to truly take effect. Siddhartha was able to transform from a beggar into a wealthy merchant precisely because he persevered steadfastly on the right path. Remember, true wealth and honor do not lie in possessing golden treasures, but in the richness and wisdom of the heart. When a person is able to freely use wealth to benefit all beings, he has truly understood the essence of prosperity. The 5 great wealth-enhancing practices of Akasagarbha Bodhisattva transcend the river of time and space, and to this day remain applicable to anyone seeking a better life. They are not illusory supernatural powers, but genuine wisdom for living. Regardless of the circumstances you find yourself in, as long as you sincerely practice these wisdom teachings, it is possible to transform your destiny like Shakyamuni and the virtuous masters, attaining both material and spiritual abundance. In this era rife with material desires, we especially need the wisdom of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva to remind us that the acquisition and use of wealth should be integrated with morality and wisdom. True wealth is not possessing the most, but not losing the most. It is not about incessant demands, but an unceasing accumulation of desires. Not wealthy enough to rival a nation, but rich in virtue and morality. Only in this way can we, like Siddhartha, attain inner peace and joy alongside wealth, becoming truly prosperous individuals.